Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Lal-ain and welcome to Lal-ain's Diary. And I hope that you all are fine, well, and doing great. So today's episode is, really special because we have an incredible guest with us. So today's guest is Veqar Islam, and he's joining us today in our show to share his epic story. Like it is so honorable to have him in our show today. So let's invite him to our studio and have a wonderful talk with him. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Very good. Good to be here.
That is really great. Okay, so first of all, if you could give your introduction, because nobody would be able to describe you as best as you can describe yourself.
So, easy introduction. I'm a common Pakistani, uh, but someone who has been blessed uh, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's bounties throughout his life. A bit of hard work and a lot of luck and a lot of blessings from God has helped me where I am. Started off as a um, in a very humble way in my career, grew in my career to be CEOs of top multinationals in Pakistan like NCR and Nokia. Moved to Dubai, was heading the region, the Middle East region, and in my last assignment for a large multinational was heading the entire Middle East and Africa region for them. Was also on their global executive board. Had a bit of health scare, came back to Pakistan and started a new journey 6 years ago as an entrepreneur, and last 6 years have been working as a business person, running my own businesses. Again, started with one, and in 6 years now we have Alhamdulillah five businesses, close to 1,000 people, and good journey.
That is really good to hear. Okay, it is only me, or is there really a voice repetition coming over? Is my voice repeating?
It's slightly better, not the best, but yeah, it's okay. I can hear you reasonably well.
Okay, then that is great. Okay, so you know why I wanted you to be the guest on my show today?
Tell me.
Because the country's economical situation during 2020 due to COVID-19 is unstable. You just can't say that only some people are affected by it, but everyone's life is affected. Like now, people who are struggling with these problems and giving helping hands to others are very less. But we shouldn't lose our hope, and you know that young people are very enthusiastic and they're doing starting their own small businesses as entrepreneurs. So my this show will help them when they will listen you, and people like you who are very inspiring leaders and helping others in your capacities. So let's continue our conversation. Okay,
Yeah.
so your introduction was really great. It is really good to hear about you. So let's start from your childhood. Like, how was your childhood? You were shy, introverted, or extroverted, or very cool, calm, or an active, talkative child?
So I've been a fairly active kid. At least that's how I remember my childhood. Very sporty, very friendly. I discovered for many reasons few talent in myself. Like I can mimic well, I can sing well, or I could sing well. I would be always amongst friends. So I was. I wouldn't say I was an introvert, and I was not exactly an extrovert either. So somewhere in the middle. But I mean, I've always enjoyed people's company. Even as a child, I would always like to be in the middle of things. I would want to be noticed. I would do things that people will notice me for whatever I do, whether cracking a joke or singing a song or mimicking someone or just engaging in interesting conversations, sharing a laughter, etc. So I don't think I've been an introvert, but not per se. So it's not something that I would get very friendly with someone when I meet him for the first time. So it would take me a bit of time to get adjusted. But once I'm in my comfort zone, then definitely I was not an introvert. Yeah, and I always had something in me, even when I was growing up, where I used to get noticed. People would want to be friendly with me. I had, even now, easygoing personality, no inhibitions, very simple, very basic. And generally, I've seen in life people prefer to engage with such people who are not pretentious, who are not, having an air around them for no reason, who have an iron rod in their back. So I think all in all, yeah, it's been a great childhood actually. Playing outside, we used to have in our days a lot of outside sports, not necessarily very structured, and not just cricket. I mean, any sport which was in. So if a hockey tournament is happening around the world, then everyone in the street will start playing hockey, and I would be one of them. If something is happening on soccer, I'll get on with the soccer thing. Cricket, of course, but then a lot of indoor games, table tennis, carom board, other board games, etc. So it's been a fairly fulfilling childhood, I must say. Very action packed.
That is really great. And how was your school life? I always ask this question because your childhood memories and your school life does matter a lot, especially when it has some kind of bad or uncomfortable things, and young people demoralize due to those things. But if they found that like wise and like-minded, successful people, they will found new life, new courage.
Yeah, so again, just like my childhood so there are two lives from my student life that I cherish quite a lot and I remember very well. So one is the school life, and then in between the 4 years that I was in college till I did my bachelor's, that piece I don't remember very well. There was no action, nothing much happening. But then I remember my university life very well. So these two lives from my student days I remember extremely well, and I have very cherished memories. So again, the school life was, as I said, because I was a short guy, so I was not one of the tall ones. So I think when I did my grade 10, I was 4 feet 9 inches, so which is a pretty short size compared to the Pakistan average height as well. Uh, but I was quite naughty. I was part of kids who were all short like myself, but they were all extremely active, extremely naughty, extremely talkative, very noisy crowd, all very intelligent, not necessarily studious. And I always differentiate between the two. So I was never very studious, and that's why I didn't do well in my studies, or I lived up to the potential that I had in my studies, because I was never on being studious, but I used to work hard on many other things in developing my personality and working, as I said, in working with people, getting noticed, being at the forefront, whether it is talking, speaking, debating, singing. So I had a lot of those things going for me, and I was okay in studies. I mean, I wouldn't say I was bad, but because I was very intelligent, or at least that is what I used to get the feedback. So hence I would get a lot of spanking from my parents or from my teachers, saying why this guy doesn't live up to his potential. He's otherwise so intelligent, but his grades do not do justice to him. And they didn't do justice to him till I actually got to the university stage. So I have very, very interesting memories of my school days, and clearly one of the best times that I had in my life.
That is really good to hear. is really a voice repetition coming over. Okay, if you could do one thing that will help to avoid the voice repetition, that when you will talk, I will mute my mic, and when I will, so can you please then mute your mic so that we could avoid voice repetitions? Okay. Yeah, so let's moving on to the next question. So I was about to ask like that you are director and CEO of Jaffer Business. So can you tell me something about this company?
So this is an IT company. So this is what I've done all my life. I've been in the field of IT and telecom, being part of, as I said, large multinationals for almost 27 years of my career. Interestingly enough, JBS, the company I'm now part of, I started my career from there. So when I did my master's, and I've always wanted to be in a sales and management kind of role. So I started my career as a sales executive in this very company that I'm part of right now. And I used to sell Xerox photocopiers in my initial 6, 8 months before I moved to NCR and got into the computers field. But the start of my career is from this very company. And again, great 6, 8 months of my initial career before I moved on to a bigger and a more global company. And 27, 28 years later, I came back to the same company as a CEO, director, and a shareholder. So that's more or less, as they say, the life goes the full circle. So from where I started my career as a sales executive, I built enough credentials over the next 27 years of my career for the company to take me back as a partner and a CEO and a director. So it is inspiring for many young people who especially start very humble. I mean, when I started my career, for young people who are listening out there, I used to go on buses to make calls. I used to have a hunchback in wagons, if you like, just to be with clients. I could not afford a car or a bike or a cycle, so used to walk sometimes 10, 15 kilometers a day just to go from one place to the other because didn't have money. I funded my schooling and my further studies are beyond school through tuitions that I carried on doing till I started getting into my professional career. But all this, if you work hard and have sincerity of purpose in whatever you do, then God has His ways of rewarding you, and I think that's what I count His blessings too. I mean, over the last now good almost 34, 35 years that I've been in the field. I said, I mean, 6 years ago, I started more or less a new career after spending 27, 28 years in the corporate world. And I said, I want to be a businessman. So when you are in the corporate world and enjoying a very different kind of life, where you're traveling from one country to the other, always in the plane, having a jet set life, and suddenly you say everything is over. I want to start afresh. I want to go back to the ground and take a fresh start all over. It's a very tough decision. But because I stayed humble in my own career and grounded, so not even for a day, I felt that all the profile in the corporate world and global world that I had is suddenly gone, and now I'm on my own. And 6 years down the road, as a businessman now, I'm more or less back to the same kind of profile, but this time it didn't take me 27, 28 years. I could cover the distance much faster because the experience was there, the network was there, a lot of wisdom has come over the years. So that's the story on JBS. JBS is an IT company, one of the large IT companies of Pakistan, and we do many things: infrastructure, IT infrastructure. We also do some our own product. For example, we have a product called Hisab Kitab, which is a personal finance platform for users who typically do their income and expenses on papers or brain or Excel at most to digitize that experience. We do big data consulting. We do, we work with large companies like Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, etc. So it's a large company, and beyond this, I also do Touchpoint, which is again a family business that we have. They are also in IT, but they are into ATMs and self-service solutions. Then there's another company which is called Blue Tech. So that's a big data analytics company, something very futuristic, something which is very trendy these days. And then, of course, Hisab Kitab, which is, as I said, our own product, and now we have separated it as a company.
That is amazing. Okay, so you are also the president of Touchpoint Group, which is providing different services like self services, business intelligence, analytics services, call solutions, and VAS platforms. So, how do you manage these all things together? I mean, as a director and CEO, you already have so many responsibilities, but you're also giving many other services too. So, how?
So I think once you grow in life, and I have an interesting anecdote from my son who's now grown up. He's in his undergrad program, but when he was in grade 4 or grade 5, he became president of his school, right? His student union, if you like. And I was traveling during those times, so when he became the president, he had his first show as a president of the student society, and I couldn't go there because I was not in country. So when I came back during the weekend, and I asked him how did that go, I said, yeah, it went very well. Everyone was very happy, and things, I got a lot of praise, etc., etc. And then I asked him, so what did you do? And he told me, Baba, when you are the president, then you don't do much. You make others do it for you. So I think, if you want to grow in life, you must learn to grow people and delegate so that they can share your load while you focus on the big picture. That's the only way for young people to scale. If you continue to do everything, so for example, if I do today what I used to do in my initial part of the career, then that is what I'll I will not be able to scale and go up. So as you go up, your role in life changes, and other people need to do what you were doing 1 year or 2 year or 5 year 10 years before. Your job is to make sure that they get the guidance, they get the big picture, they get the coaching, they get the enablement and the empowerment, so that they are able to run with the things rather than you doing it for them, while you manage the big picture and develop a vision for the future. So I think I've learned the art of delegating, I've learned the art of trusting people, I've learned the art of enabling and empowering people, and that gives me a lot of time to do multiple things. And I still believe I can do a lot more, actually. So my vision in the next 5 to 7 years is to have 10 companies under me. So right now I'm at 4.
Wow, that is, pretty amazing. That is really great. So, you're also the founder of Hisab Kitab and a director at Blue Tech Consulting, too. So, can you tell me about this as well? I really, really wanted to know about it because its name is unique in Urdu version.
So it's Hisab Kitab, not,
Yeah.
it's like Hisab Kitab, right? Like what we do, and we keep talking about it. So the whole vision of the product is about, if you look at the way it works today, uh, in every home, whether you are a student or you are a young professional, whoever has an income, he or she has an expense as well. And whoever has an income, he or she has an expense, and he or she has a saving, right? So think about it as to how people track this experience today. So majority of the people, they have an income, so they earn money, or even as student they get pocket money, whatever, and then they do expense, but they have no way to track that expense. So, you'll go out, buy some clothes, eat out, do some shopping, do some charity, etc., etc. But how do you track all of this? Businesses have a way of tracking all of this through what they call an ERP system. But as an individual user, we don't have a proper tool which allows us to track everything. So if I want to know how much I spent, for example, in March this year, and where did the money go, then majority of the people would not be able to tell you that, because they would typically keep this either on a piece of paper or on in a diary. Some young people like yourself would use Excel as a tool and would track it there. So the idea is that we change this whole way of tracking individual income, expenses, savings, investments, etc., and digitize it in a simple manner so you can track your income and expenses over days and months and years, so that you can plan your money better. Just like businesses cannot work without planning, individuals should not work without planning either, but they do. So if we can structure that whole thing in a simple, easy to use digital platform which is called Hisab Kitab, then it is a different experience. It's something not relatively or not strongly tried around the world. So we have good 5 billion or close to 5 billion smartphone users in the world. And imagine if many of them start using a product like this, right? So that they are able to track their entire financial uh, life, just like businesses do it. Now, they don't need to be as disciplined as business, but at least in your home, many a times you have heard this from between your parents कि यार आज पैसे दिए थे कहाँ गायब हो गए, and so वो किधर गए वो किसी को पता नहीं होता, and then you are looking for some papers here and there and thinking where did I invest, and now you'll have everything at the uh, convenience of your palm, and you will be able to explain and track and manage. So I think this is what this platform is all about. We are very excited about it. We want to make this product uh, a top product in Pakistan as well as from Pakistan in the personal finance category.
That is really great. You are doing an amazing job at it. So, I also want to ask you that how would you describe your business to a potential client? How would you describe it?
So in a simple word, anyone who understands technology, I'll say we provide technology solutions which solve business problems, right? So that's the easy one. You have a business problem, I'll give you a technology which solves it. And because we cover with all the 3 or 4 companies that we spoke about, we cover a very broad spectrum of portfolio and services, which more or less covers the length and breadth of the IT industry, if you like. And we will be able to explain to them how we can be more or less one-stop shop for them to solve any of their IT problems. So, for example, one of the things we just worked on during COVID time, because work from home, as you know, has become very popular. So we have now come up with a product which is called JBS at Home. So whereby we will set up everything for you in your home, uh, end to end, uh, including your laptops and headsets and virus, antiviruses, connectivity, furniture. So we are one-stop shop for your work for home solution. So those kind of things. So we are like a large IT company with a broad portfolio, and we solve business problems using technology.
That is really great. Okay, and could you also tell me about a time when you experienced a conflict at work and how did you handle it?
Oh, it's a daily affair. So if you have worked 30 plus years, then you would realize that conflicts are part of life. And if you have no conflict, then something is wrong with the way you are living your life, because then you are a conformist. Then everything that is happening around you uh, is the way it should be. It's more or less ideal, and ideal for everyone could be defined in his own ways or her own ways. But conflict to me is a sign of life. So if you don't have conflict, then something is wrong. And conflict can arise from many different things. I mean, I may have a difference of opinion with you, which means we both want the same thing to happen, but I disagree with your approach to get there. So it's like, if you want me to go to the airport and you want to take a certain route, and I think there's another route which is better, we can easily get into a conflict, because while we both want to get to the airport at the right time, but we are both trying to use a different route to get there. But that's a good thing, because in this way I will learn a new route which I was not thinking about, right? And once I challenge you, you will tell me why your route is better than mine, right? And I'll be able to convince you why my route is better than yours. Hence, while we have a conflict, but the end result is that not just we'll get to the airport in time, as long as we can make decisions in time, but we'll both come out wiser from this exercise, because we'll both understand each other's perspective, and we'll both understand new way of getting to the solution which we have not thought about. So to me, conflict is good. If there is no conflict, life will be too much boring. um, I don't think it will be worth it. So difference of opinion is one of the best thing that can happen to anyone in life. If you have a difference of opinion, take it from me, that means you are a living creature. Uh, so always enjoy differences of opinion, never discourage debates, as long as it is done in a respectable manner, as long as it is done with some key objectives in mind, ideally with some data and facts. And then you build your arguments on those differences. But even if you don't have data and facts, at least the logic has to be sound, so that when you are doing a debate or when you have a conflict or a difference of opinion, you both learn from each other and you come out wiser.
Your answer is pretty unique and explainable. That was an amazing answer about conflicts. I really like that answer. Okay, so can you also tell me about a time when you were assigned a task you'd never done before? So how did you approach that task?
So as a general rule, that's the way I've been all my life, and possibly that's the reason I've had some success. So I always like to try new things. I've never been scared to venture into something which I've not done before. uh, and I would make decisions. I would try it. Sometime I failed or and learned, but many a time, just because I took the first step, I got successful. Right. So just to give one example, and there can be many. Uh, as I was growing up in my career, and I used to, as I said, work for these top companies like NCR and Nokia. I always had this desire that we keep seeing big companies going to India and other countries and setting up their delivery centers in other parts of the world. And I used to think, why can't we do it in Pakistan? At least for the companies that I've worked, why am I not able to convince, or why will I not be able to convince my global people to come to Pakistan and make Pakistan a global delivery center? And everyone I would speak to throughout my career would discourage me, saying, even when you are in such position of power, this is too difficult. Pakistan is not easy to sell. Nobody will listen to you. So you just focus on your work, and that is what counts. Da 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 da. And finally, I got to country head positions, and I thought this is my time to start trying something which has possibly not been done in Pakistan before. No CEO before me even tried it, right? And I thought, let me try it. And then I took one step to the other, to the other, to the other. And guess what? In 3 to 4 years of me becoming a country head in NCR Teradata, we set up the first global delivery center in Pakistan, which exists today. Then I went to Nokia. We set up a Europe, Middle East, Africa global delivery center in Pakistan. So something which was never attempted before, but just because I was willing to take that step, nature conspired to help me. And let me share an example which I've shared many a times publicly. It's also in my TED talk, which is on YouTube. But let me share a very interesting life example. So when we got a decision to set up this global delivery center in Pakistan, and everything was moving well. And finally, we got a project from Kuwait, where we had to send 13 to 14 people, all high skilled, all people in the area of data warehousing and big data analytics, etc. And then we found out that Kuwait doesn't give visas to Pakistanis. And this more or less meant if this happened, then imagine the global image of Pakistan, where they would have said, because Pakistanis do not get the visa, hence we cannot set up a global delivery center in Pakistan. Yeah. So I checked with people and everyone said, there is no way you can get the visa. And it is just not possible, which meant we would not have gotten the project that I'm talking about. And I used all my connection. At that time, I used to live in Islamabad. And anyone and everyone I knew in government, I approached them. I sought their help. And they were all willing to help. But more or less, the end result always was, sorry, Kuwait doesn't give visas. And then I was called in a conference in Karachi to be a speaker in their opening session. It was a banking seminar organized, I think, by Muslim Commercial Bank, and I was one of the first speakers during the day. So it was in PC Karachi. So I walked in the morning. They received me and made me sit in the front row before the seminar started. Yeah, and just besides me, or my neighbor, I saw a man with an Arabic dress sitting beside me. And because it was a banking conference, I actually thought he's from some bank. UBL, for example, at that time was just acquired by a Middle East bank. And I thought he's from United Bank and one of the new guys in Pakistan who's setting up the new management in UBL. So I asked him, which bank do you represent? Thinking it is a banking seminar, so there will be bankers. And he told me, no, I'm not from a banking circle. I'm actually Consul General of Embassy of Kuwait. And that was shocking to me. And I told him, wow, man, I've been looking for you like crazy. And then I explained to him, and guess what? I got 13 visas and Global Delivery Center was established. But it all happened because I didn't give up and I was willing to take that first step. So many a time people do not succeed in life or they don't try new things just because they are too scared to take the first step. And it is always that first step which is the key to your success. If you go to a party and you want to meet someone, and you want to introduce yourself to him or her, and just thinking that, he may not like it, just thinking, what if he snubs me? Just thinking they will brush me aside. You just don't find the courage to go and meet them and introduce yourself. And hence you don't know the person. But imagine if you took that first step, go and meet that person, and he says, yeah, I mean, why not? Let's meet up and let's set up a time. Just like you approached me and we agreed to do this session. So always remember, for the young people, it's always the first step. If you want to do something, have the courage to take that first step, because that's the most difficult step in life. If you can do that, trust me, the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth step, they start to follow. You don't need to worry about them. but always be willing to take the first step. So I've never been scared to take that first step. And that is the key to my success.
Wow, that was, such a wonderful example. Like, it was really a moral short story. I really loved this short story. It was amazing. So, you know that you're also a leader. So, I wanted to ask you some leadership quality questions as well. So, if you could tell me that, what values to you are most important as a leader, if you could tell?
So I think the most important to me is the transparency and credibility. Uh, leader has to be credible, and leader has to be transparent to people. When I say credible, that means he needs to practice what he preach. So I can't be telling people uh, to be ethical, as an example, whereas I always practice unethical behavior. That doesn't work. So credibility comes from what you practice is exactly what you preach. So that's the credibility piece. And transparency piece is something that you don't keep things in your heart. You are open to your people, you are transparent to them, you tell them the problems, you share the successes, exactly like you share it with yourself or with your intimate partner, right? So if you are credible and transparent, then rest of the things happen and people start to follow you. So to me, these are the two most important or top elements of leadership. And then, of course, a lot of other things. You need to have a vision. You need to be strong in execution. You need to think out of box. All those things will come in. But to me, credibility and transparency are two most key traits that leaders need to have to be called a leader.
That is really great. So, are you also able to collaborate with others and accept new ideas?
Always, as I said, one of the very strong believer of diversity and difference of opinion. So I love it. So because I love it, so I have it's so easy for me to work with people with different opinions, different ways of working, different ways of thinking, because I always see it as an opportunity for me to learn. So, for example, when I was with Nokia Siemens and I was heading the Middle East region, so I had 22 nationalities. Uh, I had 22 people reporting to me from 16 nationalities. Now, someone from Pakistan would react to a situation in a very different way than someone from India or Bangladesh or UK or US or Finland or Philippines or Thailand, because I had all these, or Lebanon or Syria. Uh, and it allowed me to learn different ways people react to a challenge, different ways people solve a problem, and we would always find a new way to handle an issue because we allowed diversity of opinion and we promoted difference of opinion. So again, collaboration as a leader, or not just as a leader, even as an individual, you cannot work well if you are just a solo player. You only create magic melody when the whole orchestra works together. You only create a winning team in cricket, as an example, when all 11 players and the coaching staff and the training staff and the physical staff and the psychologists, everyone work in harmony, and you become a champion. So you cannot be a leader and you cannot be a winner in life if you don't learn how to collaborate and you don't appreciate the significance and importance of diversity and difference of opinion.
Okay, that was really great. So we are, the time is running really, really fast and time is short as well. So I've asked you many different types of questions, and I hope that I didn't ask any kind of hard question for you to answer. Okay, and it was really great talking with you. So I also want to ask you that if you have any question to ask me, then you can ask right now.
Tell me about yourself. I don't know you. So, what do you do? What are your goals? What are your ambitions in life? Um, what is this platform all about? I don't refuse anyone coming to me and talking to them. So, that's the way I am. So, I don't normally check how many people will watch, what happens. If it is an opportunity for me to make a young person learn, I just say yes. So, I don't know anything. So, feel free to share just for your audience as well. Maybe they will get to know you better as well.
Yeah, so this platform, Lal-ain Diary, is usually for kids and teens. I also invite many different types of kids and teens to come into this show and talk, like sometimes I talk. So it will help them to develop their confidence level. And as in quarantine time, by coming to these different types of shows, it will help them to utilize their time more effectively. And if I invite some amazing personalities like you, it will help those teens to learn from your inspiring missions or passions. So that is what this whole platform is about. So I've just told you about the platform, and as you know that my name is Lalan Anis. I have told you that before, right? Yeah. And this whole idea of conducting shows was because of my mentor, which is my mother. And she gave me the idea of starting this platform, and she was the one who also gave me the idea of its name, Lalan's Diary, because I love writing diary. That's why she told me that I should name my show Lalan's Diary. So that's I would like to share just for now. Okay.
Excellent. Well done. Keep it up.
Thank you very much for joining today. It was such an amazing session with you. So, before going, if you have any kind of message or advice you want to give to viewers or teens,
I think very simple one. I'm a blessed Pakistani. I am a hardcore Pakistani. So I my only advice to young people, to old people, to anyone: treat Pakistan exactly like you treat your home. No different. So if something you don't like in your home, please don't like in Pakistan as well, because Pakistan is our bigger home. If Pakistan grows, our small home where we are doing this show will prosper. But if Pakistan doesn't prosper, and we believe just by prospering our home we can prosper this country, won't happen. So treat Pakistan exactly like you treat your own home, and Pakistan will be a great country, inshallah.
that is a really great message. I really love this message a lot. So, again, thank you very much for joining. It was really a great honor have you in our show. So thank you very, very much for joining, and I hope that you'll join again. Allah
Thank
Hafiz.
you. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.
So it was an amazing session with Sir Veqar Islam today, and I also really enjoyed a lot. There were many different types of questions, and some of them were a little bit hard to answer as well. Yeah, I did messed up in the middle, but I tried to keep the answers easy. Okay, the show was really, really great, and I hope that you all enjoyed too. So don't forget to like, share, and comment. And people, those people who commented down on this video, on this live video, thank you very much for commenting. And we'll meet you in the next session, inshallah. So until then, keep watching Lala's Diary.